Uh, Happy New Year. Happy 2021. How are you guys feeling about the new year? Good. Good.
Scared.
Mixed feelings. Hmm?
Scared.
Fair. Fully valid. Yeah, fully valid. Oh my gosh. I know for me, like I always get so excited. There's two times of the year that I love more than anything. Number one is the new year, and number two is my birthday. Because for those of you who study numerology with me, you know that your birthday is a second chance at a new year, right? The calendar year is like the external world's start of a fresh start, but we all get our own internal fresh starts on our birthday. So we actually get multiple chances at this, which I love. Okay. Your word of the year is nourish. Am I recording? I am recording. Okay, good. Oh, yes. Hello, hello. Amazing people. Feeling ready, but leaned back. Beautiful, Devin. Nourish. Bring on 2021. Intentional. Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. Now, I want to be really for you guys who know me, who've worked with me before in the past and who've seen my work before, my inclination is always to lean in to potential and possibility because I know we have choices. There is going to be contrast, and I'm not going to pretend there isn't. There was contrast, and I'm not going to pretend there wasn't. However, where we put our attention is what's going to determine a lot of the momentum we experience. And that's not to say that if bad things happen, we created it. It's definitely not to say that. But I do know that within the power and control that I have in my energy, in my life force, that there's certain things I want to create expansion within. So when I share the forecast with you today, I'm definitely going to be sharing some of the challenges that might arise, but because what I want for you and what I wish for you is for you to take advantage of this massive opportunity in front of you and to lean into the possibilities and the potentials that are being birthed in this year. This year is very, very powerful for so many reasons. And one of them being because of all the contrast we experienced last year, potential is always born out of contrast. Opportunities are always born out of challenge, both personal and individual, as well as collective. And the collective ones evolve because of all of our individual energies co creating together. So, if you guys want more details on any of that as I'm going along, feel free to comment in the chat. I will definitely open things up for Q&A at the end as well if you feel like you want to save it to the end, but comment in the chat as I'm going or ask me questions as I'm going. You know that I love to be able to kind of meet you where you're at and share what's going to be most helpful for you. Oh, I love it. You guys are all sharing your words. This is so, so good. Okay. Intentional. Yes, Christina. It's like a double start for you with your birthday tomorrow. Beautiful. Deepen experiences and connections, allowing. Oh, okay, Natalie, I love that because that is super in alignment with the energy of the year. Okay, Meredith is saying it's a universal 5 and a personal 5. I love it. We've got a lot of people who know their numbers on here. This is newish to me, learning numerology. So on this call, there are people who are skilled and experienced and certified numerologists who've been studying with me for years. And there are people who are brand new who don't know anything about numerology. And wherever you fit on the spectrum, just know it's going to be perfect for you. Okay, go back to the chat. Expect harmony, presence, self-actualization, expansive, overflowing, surrender. Oh, this is so good. You guys are on it. I love it. Amazing. Okay, this is a 5 energy year. And if you've seen some of my posts and things promoting it, what that means is we have an opportunity for freedom this year. The whole entire theme of 5, yes, your word is freedom. You're totally universally aligned. The whole opportunity that we have as a collective is to access a deeper sense of freedom. Now, freedom is one of those tricky words, right? Where there is, it can go in a lot of different directions. It can go in the direction of like, you know, well, what's freedom to me? Doing what I want, when I want, how I want, right? And it's like, well, what does that mean? Does that mean like today I'm just gonna like sit on the couch and binge watch Netflix because I don't feel like doing anything? There are days when that truly is freedom, right? There are days where that truly is freedom. However, recognizing that what is true freedom is being able to live in alignment with your heart and your soul's calling. Anytime that you have a mismatch between your heart and your soul's calling, you'll feel restricted. You will feel burdened on your shoulders, you will feel weighed down, and you will feel heavy. So, as everyone on this call knows, following your heart's desire, following your soul's calling is not always easy, right? Freedom is not always easy. Freedom sometimes requires us to like dig a little deeper and take the road less traveled and make hard choices and do difficult things. But in the doing of that, if we're doing it from that aligned place that's like in line with our soul's calling, in line with our heart's desire, we actually can access a deeper level of freedom and expansion. So, how many of you people here on the call like have a sense of that already? Maybe you've done things like that in the past where you've made tough choices. Yeah, you've done some of those hard things. In the moment, you're like, oh my God, like, can I get through this? Is this going to be okay? But then you just know something, like you just sense something, right? Like what makes you do those hard things? What makes you go through, wake up early, quit the job, move the city, do whatever those hard choices were that you had to do, upheave your life, whatever it was? It's like there was something in you, right? That knew, like there was a sense of knowing. And so that deep sense of knowing, I call it your felt sense. I call it your inner guidance system, call it your intuition, call it instinct, whatever it is. It's something within you that knows something beyond, you know, maybe something that you can tangibly grasp with your fingers. Does that make sense? And so this is precisely why I've labeled 2021 as the year of the intuitive. It is so important to prioritize your felt sense, your instinct, your intuition, your inner knowing, your inner guidance system above all else. Because that is the thing that will guide you towards the true freedom that you actually want. Not the like, I'm checking out of life freedom, but the freedom where you actually are engaged and co creating in life, right? So, this is why it's so important this year, above all else, to trust your gut, to listen to your heart, to listen to your soul, to create space and time to do so, and to recognize that freedom is paradoxical in that way, right? One of the ways that we can hear that intuition or that inner guidance system most strongly is when we are disciplined in certain aspects of our life. So the key this year to accessing freedom is actually through the doorway of discipline. And I know if there's any ruling number fives in this call, you guys have a love-hate relationship with discipline because you know this. Most of us know this. And yet we resist it, right? So as I'm saying this, I would love for you to think, what are some of the things that I know are disciplines, practices, and habits that help me feel my best self, that help me access my inner knowing, that help me access my inner power source? What are some of those things that I know do that for me that I might resist, that I might not always want to do? I know for me, my meditation practice totally slacked on Christmas. Like in December, I was so random and so all over the place and I was not disciplined. So for me, that's one of those ones where I'm like, that's a discipline. I know when I do it, I feel my inner power source. I feel my intuition deeply. And yet there are times when I resist it. Okay. So I'd love if anyone wants to comment in the comments what some of theirs might be. Getting a good sleep, morning routines, evening routines, EFT, and journaling. Absolutely. Waking up at 5 a.m., big intentional goal this year. Vicky, I saw your post and I was like, wow, girl, you're doing it. Amazing. Daily movement, Carly. Yoga, Julie. Beautiful. So I'd love for you, if you're taking notes as you go, just jot a couple of those things down for you. Like, what are those disciplines that allow me through the practice of them to access deeper freedom? Now, again, I hope this is making sense and landing. The disciplines are a gateway to freedom because of how they help you to access your inner power center and your intuition and your inner guidance system, right? They help you to access your felt sense. So, another thing that's going to be really important this year overall is going to be slowing down, right? Don't rush. Don't be so busy. Don't get so caught up in your head. Don't feel like you need to have a podcast constantly running in the background. Like, it's fine to do those things on and off or whatever, but give yourself space for quiet, for stillness. Go out in nature, go, to a float tank. For me, the simplest thing is to just literally walk out my door and walk down to the beach and just lean against a tree. It takes me 15 minutes. I never regret doing it. And it's always one of those things that totally brings me right back to center, even if you only have a 15-minute window for it. So again, thinking about that, like, what are those things I can practice, add as disciplines into my life that will slow things down for me? Taking a bath in the evening before you go to bed. Waking up, if you've got kids, waking up before the kids are going to wake up. So you just have a minute or two to yourself. That, I always hated that advice. I still struggle with it because I always feel like if I wake up, my kids know I'm awake and they wake up. So I'm like, if I wake up at 6, they're up at 6. If I wake up at 5:30, they're up at 5:30. But maybe your kids don't do that. I don't know. Oh man. But see if you can find those moments, right? See if you can find those moments in your day. Okay. So what have we got so far? We've got that 2021 is the year of the intuitive. We've got that 2021 wants most for us a sense of expansive freedom, and the freedom from self-imposed restrictions and limitations. So this is going to be a theme as I start to go through the months. I mean, like, I'm giving you high level for the year right now, but then I'm going to go through the months. This is going to be a theme. We are going to have plenty of opportunities to become aware of our self-imposed limitations, the things that we put on ourselves and do to ourselves that just hold us back, right? Without even knowing. Like, obviously, I mean, we're not doing it consciously, most of us anyways. It tends to be either a conditioned belief system or a pattern that you've kind of inherited or picked up, or cultural and societal expectations. Like, who knows where it comes from? But if you knew it, you probably wouldn't do it. But this year, you're going to be given a few opportunities to become aware of some of those self-imposed limitations, some of the stories where you just think to yourself, well, this is just how it is. Like, this is just something I do. And you might not even think that. And then all of a sudden you can step back and be like, oh, I have the perfect example of this. Okay. So I love snowboarding and I have been riding the same board for quite a while. And I've never changed my binding stance. Never. It didn't even occur to me that I could change my binding stance, even though there's like little screws and everything on my bindings. And I've been snowboarding for, I don't know, 20 years, riding the same board for 10 years, let's say. And the other day I was riding with a friend and my friend was like, oh, I'm going to just stop and adjust my bindings. I'm like, what? Oh my God, you can do that. Of course you can adjust your bindings. I adjusted my back binding by like 15 degrees and it completely changed the rest of my day of riding. It was something that I had no idea, completely lack of awareness, which is crazy because I've been snowboarding for so long. I don't even know why it didn't even occur to me. But this is the thing. We all have like things like that every single day where we don't even know what we don't even know, even though it's right under our nose, right? And by shifting my binding stance the slightest bit, the riding for the rest of the day was even better. Like, it was amazing. It totally improved my skill. So all of us have those things, and we are going to be presented opportunities over and over again this year to recognize what are the constraints I am placing on my own freedom expansion, and soul alignment. So be aware of those and take note of them. And when you recognize them, be like, oh, this is one of those things, right? This is one of those things. What am I going to do about this? And see what you can do. Okay. And some of them are so easy, like literally adjusting your binding stance 10 degrees or 15 degrees or whatever it was. And it changed everything. Okay. The other thing about five energy is five loves adventure. Five loves exploring. Five loves trying new things, traveling, getting outside of your daily habits and your daily routines. Again, this is a little bit paradoxical because I just told you you need to have lots of discipline and structure, but you also need to let yourself play and have fluidity in that. So if I'm going to commit to upping my meditation this year, you know, maybe I try some different meditation styles. Maybe I try meditating outside more often because typically I meditate on this one chair at my house. Maybe I'm actually going to go meditate outside more often. Maybe I'm going to try a group meditation practice, or maybe I'm going to start going to the float tank or whatever, right? So it's like, yeah, you can have discipline and structure, but can you allow yourself to be expansive and free within your discipline and structure? As I'm talking about what I'm talking about today, I'm recognizing like there is a lot of paradox in this year. And the paradox in this year is in support of expanding into the unknown. This is why five loves freedom, loves adventure, loves experimenting and trying new things, travel, different foods. Like I know we have a lot of like restrictions placed on us right now, but you can look at the restrictions or you can look at the opportunities. And even though, for example, there's been like no travel for fun lately, I feel like I've gone on, I don't know how many road trips, all within like an hour or two's drive of my neighborhood, right? And it's great going out to the forest, going camping, going snowboarding, going to the lake in the summertime, going boating, going paddleboarding. It's like, yeah, I couldn't really travel, but I got the vibrancy and the essence of travel this year, anyways. So you can do that this year, right? Give yourself permission to find your exploration, adventure, and travel in the world that works for you, right? In a way that works for you. Cooking from different cultures, right? Watching travel documentaries. You can look at the restrictions or you can look to the opportunities. Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's always going to be opportunities that emerge. And I don't want to make light of the fact that the restrictions are very real and they're causing a lot of people some significant challenges. I know that. But I also believe that my job is to point you to the opportunities that are available to you because I don't want you to live in your restriction. Any restriction that's happening to you is presenting an opportunity for something new, right? And if you want to know the specifics of why your individual restriction is happening or whatever, like we can look into your code and look at that, right? We can look into the code and figure out where are you being pivoted to, because that's always why restrictions are coming up, whether they're on a macro scale or on a micro scale or our individual responses and reactions to them. Yes. Yes. Okay, Brianna, I love that. Discipline and freedom makes sense. If I'm organized with meal prep, I have more time to hang out and play with the kids for the rest of the week. Exactly. Right. And it's like discipline can give you a foundation for your freedom. Yes. Researching places you want to go, planning an overseas adventure for my 50th, and trusting it will happen. Absolutely. And knowing that there's so many ways that you can access adventure. Now, why does five care so much about freedom, adventure, exploration, newness, and trying new things? Is because it is through that 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 we roll the ball forward. It is through that that we are allowed to tip forward into creating in the unknown. If we do things the way we've always done them in the past, we will continue to recreate our history. If you allow yourself to try, experiment, be playful, give yourself beginner's mind, you are going to discover ways of being, doing, and living that you've never even heard of before. And that's what the five wants. And it can be so basic. It can be as basic as, instead of working in my regular desk, I'm going to go down the street and work at the coffee shop, um, or whatever. I know some of the coffee shops are closed, but the diner that's right down the street from my house is still open. So I go there and work a few times a month or once a week or whatever. And just being in that different environment is enough to make me think differently, make me think more expansively. And that is what is so needed right now, individually as well as collectively. And the only way we shift the collective is by individually contributing to it, right? So what are the things you can do to switch up your routines and switch up your habits? And like, okay, so movement, that's a discipline I need. Maybe my go-to is running or going to the gym. But instead, maybe I'm going to like sign up for a dance class, or maybe I'm going to go for a hike with some friends. Like, give yourself as many opportunities as possible to experiment and play and try new things, because in the experience of that, your physical body is leading the way and your heart and your head are following. So the new ideas, the creativity, the potential, and the possibility can expand from that place. Does that make sense? You guys follow me with this? 5 has a really special job. Go play in the rain. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. 5 has a really special job. 5 is the midway point in the manifestation cycle using numerology. Okay. So 5 is right in the middle. 5 represents a weeble wobble energy, I like to call it. I don't know if you guys remember those toys when we were little. They were like egg-shaped people, and they'd like tip over and fall up again. You know, it was like an 80s thing. I don't know if they still have them. 5 is the weeble wobble energy. 5 is a fence sitting energy. 5 is, again, this is why it's so important to decide, are you focusing on the contrast, the challenge, the restriction, and the limit? Or are you focusing on the potential and the possibility and what wants to be born? Because in 5 energy, we are right smack dab in the middle. So this is one of the challenges that you're going to face this year. Is there's going to be times when there's people in your world, when there's news headlines, when there's information, when there's like irrefutable facts in front of you that are going to feel really hard, heavy, and constricting. And you're going to be on the fence in the middle of the manifestation cycle, and you're going to be presented over and over again with choices of, where am I focusing? Where am I going to put my energy into? What am I choosing? What does freedom mean for me? And how do I use my energy to create the reality that I'm living in? And we're all going to get caught up in the challenge. That's not, don't expect that you won't. We all do, and we all will. The question is, how long do you stay there for? Right? How long do you stay there for? And do you let that drive your actions? Or do you recognize, like, okay, like I recognize right now I am caught up in the wrong side of the fence, the side of the fence I don't want to be on. I'm caught up in it a little bit. Now is not the time to be reaching out to clients, planning business decisions, or moving things forward, because I don't want to embed that energy into my actions. So instead, I'm going to stop. I'm going to do whatever self-care I need to do. I'm going to go for a hike. I'm going to go for a nap. Like, I'm going to, whatever you need to do, I'm going to binge a show on Netflix. Like, it doesn't actually really matter all that much. What matters most is that you don't create from energy that's not aligned with your definition of freedom. That is what matters the most. Prioritize your energy first, because the energy of your outcome is contained, like the energy of your actions is contained in the outcome. The energy of your actions is contained in your outcome. So when you take action from a place of burden, restriction, heaviness, being weighed down, your outcomes are going to contain that energy. And this is particularly true in a 5 energy year, where we're in that fence sitting energy. That contrast is very real, but we have a choice, right? Of where are we going to be focusing? Where are we going to be putting our attention? Okay. Weebles wobbles, but they don't fall down. I love that you remember the, the saying. I love it. Yeah. I ask myself, can I allow the tipping and the back and the forth and trust that I'm not going to fall over? Yes. Lots of babies. This is so true for a current experience. Absolutely. So recognize that, yes, you can wobble back and forth. You're not going to fall down. Recognize that it's okay to experience the contrast, but create from the potential. Recognize there's going to be people who think you're putting your head in the sand if you focus on the high side or the potential. Choose whether you believe them or not, right? Like belief is a choice. Belief is a choice. And the other thing I wanted to say about that, yes, okay, belief is a choice. So when you're experiencing the contrast of, struggle, challenge, restriction, burden, whatever that, however that's going to show up in this year, because it will, right? Recognize that this is a narrative and you have to decide whether you believe it or not. And belief isn't an on or off switch. Okay. And this is something I think that I would love to actually spend a minute talking about if this resonates with you guys. Belief is not an on or off switch to the high side or to the low side. So if I ask you, like, how real does some of these restrictions feel like, that we're dealing with right now? You can rate that on a scale of 1 to 10, right? And if you asked yourself that every morning, your answer would change every day. Some days it feels like a 10 out of 10 real. Other days it feels more like a 4 out of 10 real, right? Which means your belief is malleable based on your energy. So if you know that, if you know your belief is changeable based on your energy, then decide what you're going to believe and what you're not going to believe to some extent. You can have a thought and not believe it. You can be like, yeah, this really sucks and it's going to be the worst year of my life. I don't believe that 100% though. I only believe that to a portion of percentage. You don't even have to label it. You can just be like, yeah, there's just a part of me that believes that. It's one of the things I love about tapping in EFT is it holds space for that. It's like there's a part of me that believes that 2021 is going to suck and it's going to be hard and I'm sad that I can't travel. There's a part of me that believes this is a birthplace of potential and opportunity. Both are true, right? You can hold space for both. And then in holding the space for both, you get to decide, well, which space am I taking my actions from? And which space am I going to choose to invest in order to grow my belief around it? Right? Like invest in the side you want. Does that make sense? Appreciate in the side you want, like expand in the side you want. Use your time, use your money, use your energy, use your resources. Yes. Any questions about like belief being changeable, malleable? Can I share a really cool story about this that happened this year for me? There's no children, hopefully, on the call. If you have children, don't listen. Mute. My 10-year-old, oh my God, my 10-year-old still believed in Santa. And she found a receipt from something that Santa bought her after Christmas. And she brought it to me and she was like, Mom, what is this? And I was like, oh, right? Heart dropped. So what did I do? I went upstairs. I know, Carly, heart dropped. I went upstairs with her. So we were away from the other littler kids and we started talking about Santa as an energy. And we started talking about Santa as a contribution, Santa as a collective experience in our culture. We started talking about Santa from all of those places. And I said, I still believe in Santa because of all of this. And the cool thing now that you know is you get to decide, are you a receiver or a contributor of this energy or both? Because like I'm both, right? I get to both receive and contribute to that collective energy. Now you get to choose at 10 what you're doing. And so she's like, she liked that idea. She thought that was really good. We talked about it some more. And then she goes, at the end of the conversation, it was all said and done. I'm like, okay, how are you feeling about everything? She's like, good. And then we start walking downstairs and she goes, but Mom, can I still believe in Santa? I'm like, absolutely. She's like, okay, good, I do. So it's a choice, right? You get to choose that. And even though the Santa idea, we all get the idea of it, the physical and the energetic experience of Santa, there's a physical and an energetic experience of your life, of the collective experience of what we're doing right now in day-to-day life, right? There's a physical and an energetic experience. So what are you investing in, right? Are you investing in the belief of Santa in day-to-day life? Are you investing in the belief of your dream, the belief of your vision, the belief of what's possible for the planet we live on, the belief of what's possible for our culture, for our collective, for expansion, for freedom, for an upliftment of humanity? Like, is that what you're investing in? Because it's possible, along with the physical reality of the world we live in. Both are true, right? Yes, yes, yes. I see a question.
Hi, my name is Natalie. Thank you so much for this wonderful offering today. It was such a joy to be here with all of you. So I am a Reiki master practitioner and a yoga instructor, and I'm currently in a vibration mastery program. And everything that you are saying, like, I was so drawn to you when I saw the email, because everything we're studying is exactly what you're saying today. And I love numerology, so it just goes hand in hand. But one of the things that you were saying that I love that really syncs with our program is, in any moment we can raise our vibration. We can meditate, we can breathe, we can walk in nature, do forest bathing, all kinds of things to raise our vibration, get a Reiki treatment, whatnot. But what makes it even more powerful is if we align ourselves to start off every day at a higher set point. So not just raising our vibration in the moment, but like you're saying, if we're teetering on that, like the weeble wobble, if we keep choosing the potential, even if it doesn't feel right, or even if we feel tugged, like, am I denying science or my parents or reality? If we keep choosing to align ourselves with the greatest good and with our highest power every single day, we start off with a higher and higher set point. It makes it closer and closer for us to manifest those high vibrations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which is why I think discipline is so critical this year, because we need to choose to do the EFT in the mornings, even when we don't feel like it. We need to choose to do the self Reiki, even when we don't feel like it. We need to choose to journal. We need to wake up. We need to move. We need to, whatever it is, even on the days we don't feel like it. And you don't have to make every meditation practice blissful and perfect. Sometimes just the discipline of sitting down and being like, this is my meditation practice, and yeah, it sucks today, but I'm doing it anyways, or whatever your practices are, is so powerful in building that, right? Yes, absolutely. So one of the things I'm going to get into, I'm going to move into the months now, is I'm going to speak to this, Angela, how to manage when other people are really antagonistic of the beliefs and the positivity you hold, and how not to get stuck in cycles of self-doubt. So I know this sounds simplistic, and I know exactly, because I totally hear you, but I just don't. Like, I just don't. If people start down a cycle that is not aligned with me, I make an excuse to leave the room. I find a way to change the topic. I pretend I have to go to the bathroom. Like, I will literally just like get up and be like, oh, I need some tea. Like, I will do anything to just not. And I try really, really hard to do that. And it is a discipline, again, because in the beginning, when you first decide to do that, it's really, really hard. And you'll find yourself slipping back into old patterns over and over again, or at least I did. But the more you hold yourself to it, the easier it becomes, where you're just like, I'm not feeling this conversation. All of a sudden I need tea or whatever story you have. And then all of a sudden, not sudden, but one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, wow, the majority of the people in my world don't talk about this anymore. Either they've recognized that every time they do, you leave the room, or they've left the room because you're not an audience to that anymore. One of the two, right? So either they shift or you shift. Oh, strong boundaries. Absolutely. And so here's the thing, and I hope you got this from the conversation earlier. The number one most important piece of information in any given year is, or any moment in time, is the energy that you create with matters. The energy that you create with matters. So if I feel bad because somebody's saying stuff that I don't like, or I read an article that I don't like, or I'm in an experience I don't like, the number one most important thing that I can do is get out of that, like leave, exit, put on something that makes me feel good, talk to a girlfriend that makes me feel good, whatever, and shift my energy. And then once my energy is shifted, then I can be like, okay, what's next for me? But if you don't feel good, your number one job is to get back to feeling good, because you can't create from an energy of restriction. You just can't. We're going to get into more why that's even going to be harder this year than it's ever been in the past. Strong boundaries. Okay, so let me just quickly look to make sure I covered all the things I wanted to about the year. Because of the Weeble Wobble energy, we are going to be asked to move and create in the unknown. We don't know what's on the future side of the fence. We don't know what's on the side of potential and possibility. We feel it. We sense it. There's a part of us that knows. Like if you actually just allowed yourself stillness for just a second, maybe we should actually just take a minute to do this together. Just like presence yourself for a second. And just like literally like feel your energy, like go right into your heart for a second. And just ask yourself, what is the potential right now? What's possible right now? What wants my attention right now? And this is a practice that you can literally do in like 3 minutes, a couple times a day. Jot down whatever ideas you have. Might be a word, might be an image, might just be just chill, take a nap. It doesn't matter. Write it down. But this is going to help you to recognize, to create from your own energy. Daily journaling. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So in the creating of the unknown, we can't follow strategies, maps, and systems that were created in the past. Otherwise, we're going to recreate the past. The strategies and the maps and the systems that were developed yesterday created the experiences of yesterday. So in order to create in the unknown and to create something new, you can't follow the 5-step process that someone developed 10 years ago. You know, not to say that it's not great to get advice, it is. But you have to check the alignment with the energy because you're creating something new, right? So you have to check, is this aligned with the energy of the newness that I'm creating? So in that, you're going to be asked to take risks. You're going to be asked to move in the unknown, and you're going to be asked to radically trust yourself, because you're going to feel or sense or have a gut instinct that something is the right thing to do. And other people are going to be like, oh, that's never going to work. And you're going to be like, it might or it might not, but something inside tells me I need to try anyways. Right? So that is going to be really, really important this year. Okay. Go deep. That's the other thing. Go deep. This year wants to go deep. Don't surface level. Don't jump around too much. Choose your path and go deep with it. Let yourself move beyond the boredom and go deep to the richness. Okay. Whew, year ahead. How does that feel so far? You guys ready for me to dive into January?